A doubleheader for episode 12 of Helix Studios Today. Hi, it's Kirk. In our last episode, we introduced you via phone to Derek Shaw. But as I found out meeting Derek at Helix headquarters in Las Vegas, there is much more to the fascinating story of this man who could be on track to become one of the hottest new stars in gay adult entertainment. Derek had a unique childhood in the heat and humidity of rural Florida. And yeah, about the first place that Derek had sex. It was in Legoland.
Yes, sir.
Can we follow up just a little bit about that? How did you end up having sex for the first time in Legoland? First of all, where is Legoland?
So Legoland is just like a little south of Orlando. I think it's like Poinciana, almost kind of close to in Florida.
Right.
And yeah, I lost my virginity at Legoland.
Now, where in Legoland? I've never been, so help us out here. How was it, like on a ride? Was it in behind a building? Where was it?
It was behind a building. I was kind of with like a lifeguard at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "Hey, let's go to Legoland." So I was like, "Awesome, cool, let's go." So we were having a good time, and then so we went into like an employees only area. And it just happened. If you ever go, there's a big slide. Just know it happened behind the fence.
Behind the fence of the big slide at Legoland. And another thing, it was my bad. I didn't ask you about the blue butterflies.
The blue butterflies. That's
Tell me
right.
about them.
So it's like essentially just a filter on Snapchat, but I love them. And I just love butterflies. I don't know why.
Do you? Is there a place? I know you tweeted at one point about one of your favorite places in Central Florida, and that looked like kind of a nature preserve.
Oh, my favorite place? That is the Harry P. Lou Gardens in Orlando. I love it. I've been going there since I was a kid.
Do they have butterflies there?
They have a whole butterfly section, like a whole garden for it.
Why do you think you're so fascinated with butterflies?
I think it's pretty neat because in Greek mythology, like butterflies symbolize death and psyche and like the soul. So it's like whenever I see a butterfly, it's like someone from the past or like an ancestor watching over me, essentially.
Oh my God. And people think that, I hate to use the word, but you are a porn star, gay entertainment star. And they think they're not deep. You're talking about Greek mythology here with me.
I love Greek mythology.
Do you really? Why? Why do you think you're fascinated by Greek mythology?
It's just like so interesting how you can look at things in modern day and see influence. Like I go into deep dives on it whenever I'm watching like stuff on YouTube, like how ancient Greek society has like set up many things that we still have in modern day society, like the way that they conducted like roads and plumbing and all that stuff. It can be like found in ancient like artifacts, and even like some fashion trends come back every now and then, like the ancient Greek style. It will come back every now and then.
Wow. Derek, some of your fans, I'm sure, in the very near future, after you've got a couple of scenes that come out, they're going to think you're a Greek god. Let me tell you, of course, the last podcast we talked to Derek on the phone, to see him in person, even more charming. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Now, I heard a rumor, and I want you just to kind of tell me if it's true or any background you want to share about it, that you have kind of an Amish history, an Amish past with your family. What's the story there?
Well, I wouldn't really call it Amish as much, but I grew up without hot water or air conditioning.
In Florida?
In Florida, yes.
You grew up without air conditioning in Florida?
Yes, that's correct. Like I spent 15 years of my life without air conditioning or hot water or internet, anything like that. I just kind of grew up on a goat farm.
How did you go from nothing, well, nothing as far as modern technology, to the position where you are today? That's a rapid change in just 5 or 6 years.
It was a rapid change.
And so how did your we didn't really talk much in your podcast, but you mentioned your mom was saying, "Oh no, Derek, don't do it," but then she took you to the airport.
She did.
So they must be pretty accepting of your new role that you've got.
My mother is a very accepting woman. She's very progressive. Yeah, she doesn't give herself as much credit as she should.
Wow. So this was no air conditioning in Central Florida.
No air conditioning, but I like to think that, and she backs me up on this, that it made me tougher. So.
Oh, well, you go to the gym. I can tell. You go to the gym 6 days a week.
Yes.
I can say, and I told you off mic too, don't let it all go completely to your head because you have a chance. You're getting in. If you're listening here, you're getting in on what could be one of the big stars in gay adult entertainment going forward. So that's just fascinating. Finally, this, I assume, is this your first trip to Vegas?
Yes, I love it here.
Isn't it an amazing place?
It's so beautiful. I've been out to Los Angeles before a couple
Right.
times, and I think I like Vegas more than Los Angeles.
Well, Los Angeles just goes on forever. Vegas is like a hamlet compared to LA.
Yes.
Oh, great. Derek, all the best to you. It's a great opportunity for you. Use it to help people, because let's face it, a lot of people are going to watch you in action and they're going to say, "Oh my God." And it gives them a sense of who they are, and you've got a great future ahead of you. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wait, no, we're not done yet. This is a doubleheader podcast. You heard some from Robin Moore in the Pup Play podcast in episode 9. All the Pup Play kink scenes are now available for you at helixstudios.com, including the 8-way pup and handler final scene. Now we explore more of Robin's interesting life adventure, and of course his start with Helix in 2017, and now his return.
Thank you.
Now, the scenes you did were great. They were, though, back in 2017?
Yep.
And so why just so few back then?
There was a lot going on in my life. I was seeing someone at the time, and our life together was just getting a little intense. So I kind of wanted just to back up from that for a bit.
Now, what is it that now here, is it 4 years? 4 years later, has brought you back to Helix?
I just wanted to start doing some porn again. It was the right time, so I hit up Casey and just, saw what they were doing.
Kyle Ross's dog now, Hank, is a big fan of yours, right? On the table as we speak.
Yep.
We just took a picture, which you'll see on the blog post, of you with Hank, and the question is, you've got a dog collar on too. Mm-hmm. It's seemingly something about pup play kind of brought you back to Helix.
I was very excited when they definitely told me that was what they were doing next, and I was like, I can do that for sure.
Well, you're Pup Halo in the Pup Play movie series.
Yes.
Now, is all that for real? I guess that's in there about the alpha, beta, and omega and everything like that. So this is a scene that you're involved in here. Is this locally in Las Vegas? Are you living here now?
I think I've kind of just done my own thing, pup scene wise. I met some pups, and I'm still kind of in the process of meeting the pup community here in Vegas. It's a little, there's some people that have made a big group, but I'm learning there's a lot of smaller, like, individual pups and packs and whatnot, and I'm just kind of slowly getting to know them.
Is Vegas where you're from, or how did you end up here in town?
I'm from the Kansas City area.
Ah, okay. Home of Hallmark greeting cards.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's that big Hallmark place in Crown Center. Sorry, just
that's all right. He's having a nostalgic moment for greeting
cards
cards and beef in the stockyards.
Yes, that too. I actually went to Kansas City recently and just got back. That was kind of nice. Vegas fits me much better.
You must have been 18 back in at least 2017. So
2017, I actually one of my trips out here, I think it was the one with Wes Campbell.
Sure. What was it like? You shot with a couple of the biggest stars of the past, and now Josh Brady, of course, you just shot the pup play scene with. How was it working with Joey Mills and Wes Campbell back in the day?
They were really nice, easygoing people, and I'm glad that they're like some of the people I had like my first scenes with, because they were like super laid back, and I don't know how new to it Wes was, but they were pretty chill, and Joey was he was fun and like
how would you say how could you say anything has changed, because you had that layoff from 2017 to come back in 2021? Did you notice anything change? Or I guess a lot of the same faces. You've got Kyle Ross, of course, here, and Keith Miller, and I guess Alex and Casey Roman. A lot of the players are still the same.
Oh yeah, a lot of like people within like the Helix group. Like it was nice to see all of them again. Although it was interesting because the gap between when I filmed before and now I'm filming again, like there's different models.
Right.
So I'm kind of just trying to get to know different ones. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, just getting to know all the new faces, but it was nice seeing all the old ones too.
So you are kind of in some ways one of the older, I wouldn't say you're a veteran, but a rookie at the same time.
Oh yeah, it was funny. It's like an industry that I feel not many people know what it's like to be experienced in.
And that's
You know what I
one of the
mean?
reasons we're doing this, to kind of
Yeah.
give people an inside look of what it's like with sex work. And I want to destigmatize it because it helps people, I've used the word before, and I think it's appropriate, love themselves more.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like, and I really think there's just way too much stigma in like sex work and everything. And I've worked in not just porn, but plenty of different areas of
Sure.
sex work to like really understand that it's kind of something that people are a little hesitant about, but it's whether you're customer or viewer or you're the sex worker yourself, it's a beautiful industry to be in, and I love being a sex worker.
That is fascinating. One of the things I think a lot of the fans and the viewers like to know about is the backstory of what it was like for you as a kid. So what was it like growing up in Kansas, you mentioned, when you first came out? And about how old were you when you first made the decision that, yes, I'm gay?
I think I started coming out to my friends about 14. But I probably would have known if I paid attention a bit more at probably like 11 or 12. But I did grow up in an area that wasn't very...
Gay friendly?
wasn't hated, but it's also... There's not going to be any resources for you to learn about who you are.
No great gay straight alliance in high school.
Yeah,
for you.
none of that. Like when I got into college and there was like a pride club, I really wanted to join that, and I did, and it was nice really getting into the queer community because, you know, when I grew up, I knew so little about gender identities and sexuality. I mean, I sure as hell didn't think I'd be a sex worker, but you know, any of that, like, it was just so foreign to me. So I feel like I'm in a Benjamin Button type situation where I'm like trying to redo a lot of childhood things.
Do you have siblings?
I have 4. Yeah, I have 4 siblings.
Forgot one somewhere. Huh?
Yeah, I'm just making sure we're all kind of spread out at the moment.
So how did your siblings and how did your parents react when, as a young teenager, you decided to come out? Did you come out to them?
Well, it's kind of complicated because I lived with divorced parents.
Sure.
So I had 2 separate lives.
Right.
All the time. Like, I didn't really come out to my siblings until very late. Also, they're still growing up, so I think there's one of them at least that I'm a little light on giving him details.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was pretty, I guess, divorced, my sexuality and everything. Like, my siblings never knew what it was like, me dating or anything. Like, when I got married, they met my partner, but they really didn't.
So are you still married? Is that worked out, or was that part of the issue from before?
We just got divorced.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But at least, his loss is Helix's gain to have you come back. Was it with him that brought you to Las Vegas? And I guess those other scenes were done in San Diego. So what was the journey from Kansas to the West Coast?
Well, they're actually trans.
Trans.
Well,
they.
they're trans now, or they kind of figured it out as we were
Gotcha.
going on. But so they're she.
Okay, she. They go by she as the pronoun.
Yeah, I'm pretty non-binary as well myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? All right. Well, that's very interesting. So, did you meet your former spouse? Was that in Kansas that you met them?
Yes.
That must have been an interesting rendezvous to meet someone who's non-binary and eventually became transgender in Kansas.
Both of us have gone on a big journey with our gender identity and everything. We both thought we were like still cis when we met.
Right.
So it kind of, as we figured out ourselves, kind of the togetherness kind of just
Interesting. So what was the journey, though, that brought you from the Midwest to bring you here to the West Coast?
Boy.
We'll take the Cliff Notes
I'm
version.
gonna try to make this as short as possible. I guess around the time that we broke up for good, I was on Grindr and stuff, and some guy noticed like my collar in one of my pictures, and he was like, "Oh, do you want to be my pup?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." I went to talk to him about it, and he didn't become my handler. He more just kind of wanted to date me, which is cool, but he didn't really reveal that. So that was like a sugar daddy-esque situation. And at the time, me and my ex had basically no income. And so I ended up living with him. And then
that was out here in the West.
That was in Kansas City.
Oh, that was in Kansas City.
And I eventually wanted to leave that situation. And my dad had some apartments that he manages and owns and stuff. So I just decided to live there because which I didn't want to move there, but I really didn't want that situation. So I left.
Sure.
And then found another sugar daddy eventually.
I'm sure that wouldn't be a big struggle for you, though, actually.
I mean, I seem to have a way of getting him. So this is number 2. And he lived in Durango, Colorado. And then that wasn't working. And my parents had a place in Denver that my sister lives in. And there was like a room available there. And I asked to stay there. And they were like, no. So they literally just gave me money and told me to go somewhere.
Really?
Basically. So they were like, you can go anywhere, just don't stay there.
Wow.
They know a lot about like the sex work and like my queerness and whatnot.
Right.
And I feel like they just don't want me around like family situations.
Really? Well, some
like
of the
that.
other talent have had similar type scenarios, but then eventually sometimes, things do come back. So then from Colorado to California.
And then I decided to go to Las Vegas because that was where sex work was a thing. So I was like, okay, I'll move. And I moved there, and sure enough, me and Casey started talking and found each other, and that was kind of cool reconnecting with them. So it was a huge journey.
Really? Yeah. So you via San Diego, where the other scenes were filmed. back a few years
exactly.
ago.
So.
Well, what are your plans going forward? Do you think you'll be doing more with Helix, or more maybe with because I know there is a BDSM community here called Building Blocks in Las Vegas that does embrace pup play. Where do you see your future, say, 4 years from now, or 3 or 4 years from now? I know it's hard to predict 3 or 4 weeks, but
it's hard because I'm such a vagabond, and I just love doing so many different things and going so many different places. I'm not sure, but I want to definitely do more scenes and see what other awesome hot stuff we can make. So,
Yes. Anything else you'd like to add that we didn't talk about that folks may like to know about an old yet new talent back to Helix?
I've also started hiking a lot and stuff.
Drink lots of water, none of that is summers.
Oh yeah, there was a big thing. I month or two ago, I almost died on a hike.
No way.
Yeah,
what happened?
I didn't look at. I thought the hike was going to be shorter or easier than it was.
You didn't take enough water?
I ran out of water.
Oh no.
I didn't eat at all.
Oh,
and
no.
I didn't bring any food, and it was like in the afternoon of like Vegas, very beautiful, but like I told some people where I was and everything. There was police that came. It was crazy.
No way, really?
No, yeah, but I was getting so exhausted because of dehydration and heat exhaustion.
Well, if you
It
get
was
nothing
crazy.
out of this podcast, take that as the lesson.
Yeah.
Bring water on hikes. It's been great to have you with us, and welcome back to Helix. And we look forward to seeing much more of you in the days, weeks, and months to come.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. So, but thank you for having me.